Welcome back. It's Charter California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and we are joined by two angels. That's what I would call them, angels. Louis Mena and Lillian Pon. And they are with an organization called School on Wheels. We'll talk about the focus of that organization momentarily. Their clients are homeless children. I want to speak with you about that population. Lillian, let me start with you. Tell me about your children.
Sure. So we serve children or students who are in grades K through 12. So we go to them wherever they are. So whether they're in the shelters.
But tell us more, not so much yet about what you do, but who are they? Give me a sense of who they are.
So a lot of these children are either part of a family, or they don't have their parents for some reason. So we work with both families and also with group homes and shelters. And they are in a place where they don't know where their next meal is going to come sometimes. They don't know how long they're going to be able to stay at any given place.
And mind you, your territory is Orange County, which many folks see as, you know, an affluent county, wealthy suburbs. But we know there are pockets that struggle.
Yes, specifically in Orange County, the homeless population is almost hidden. And so our shelters look like any other house on the block. You might not even know if you drove by one of our shelters, or they're in hotels and motels. And so they're not readily visible on the streets or anything like that, but they're definitely
Louis, you're just a little farther north. Your area, Long Beach and the South Bay.
Correct.
The South Bay. Beautiful communities. Long Beach. The aquarium. But yet, there are pockets.
There are pockets. There are lots of pockets. And in Long Beach, we have a wonderful community called Cabrillo Villages, which used to be naval base housing. And they have recently, 10 years or so, changed that into homeless shelters and low-income housing. So for this, it's wonderful.
Tell us about your children.
They're great kids. They don't have, they're totally normal kids, but because of their situation being homeless, they miss a lot of school within the school year because the mothers are homeless. They can miss a month at a time moving from shelter to shelter.
And what's interesting is, and I learned this recently, there is a federal law which you can describe for us, which requires schools not to put these families through a bureaucratic hamster wheel.
Correct.
Tell us about that law.
It's the McKinney-Vento law. It requires schools now to accept the child right away, without papers, without anything. Get these kids into a classroom so they are not just missing out because we're waiting for bureaucratic paperwork.
But in the end, like you say,
they miss a lot of school.
They still miss a lot of school, and so that's where School on Wheels comes in.
Exactly.
It's moniker tutoring homeless children since 1993. What a population that must be. Lillian, talk to us about what School on Wheels does very specifically.
So our goal really is to close the achievement gaps that happen due to their homelessness. So if I can give you an example of one of our students, we have a student who was struggling with algebra and he was failing, and we come in to help him. And very early on, our tutor realizes, oh my goodness, you never learned how to multiply. He just missed that, right? And so we decide to focus on multiplication, leave algebra aside for a little bit, and after a couple months of really mastering multiplication, we go back to algebra, and the student is like, oh my goodness, algebra's easy. Not only that, but he's like, just until now, I just thought I was dumb. But now I realize I just missed it.
Just missed one of the four basic computations.
Exactly.
Multiplication.
And he's like, I want to know more. I want to know what else did I miss. I'm not dumb. So
how did you find this young man? Do you know the story?
He started before me, so Louis.
Yeah, do you know the story?
His mother moved into a shelter. And we are connected with most all shelters in the area. So the shelter called and said, we have a young man who needs a tutor. So we get on our phones and we find a tutor that can help a young man in algebra.
And I couldn't do that.
Well,
I'm out in 5th grade math.
Exactly.
5th grade math, I'm out. Let's talk about the tutors. You're coordinating, incredibly valuable. Who are the tutors?
They're everyday life people. We have tutors that are retired.
So I could be a tutor technically. I'm pretty good in English.
Anybody.
Math, you wouldn't want.
I have first graders who need a tutor. So you could be a tutor.
I could.
Yes.
So how do you become a tutor?
That's simple. It really, all you have to do is go to our website, schoolonwheels.org, and click on the volunteer button. Put your name and number in there, and then you click on the area that you want to tutor in. Since we cover all the major counties in LA, from Ventura through down to Orange County, you click on the area you want to tutor in, and then the representative that covers that area gives you a call.
The beauty of Southern California is we are a multi-ethnic melting pot.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if there are situations where language becomes an issue, and are you looking for tutors that may be multilingual?
Sometimes. That helps with the parents. Most of
Which is important.
Which is important,
Right.
but it's more important with the child. And most of the children speak English, and if the younger they are, the quicker they have English.
Well stated.
So if we have a parent that doesn't speak English, the child can become the interpreter between the tutor if we don't have a tutor that maybe speaks Spanish or something.
But I have to think, Orange County, Vietnamese. I have to think that there are lots of languages that, and that's terrific in a lot of ways.
Yes, it's very helpful. But as Louis mentioned, it's most helpful when dealing with the families.
Right. She told me a touching story. I want to hear a touching story from you.
Well, I have a 2nd grader who came in. He is ready to go to 3rd grade, but his teacher, they're not going to pass him to 3rd grade. He's very upset. And we couldn't figure, he had been in 4 schools already in 2nd grade.
Just in 2nd grade?
2nd grade. He had already been to 4 different schools. Each time he went to a school, he probably missed 3 weeks to a month of school, changing. So, and they were like, well, he can't read. Well, it took a little bit of time. The first few weeks with the tutor read to him, and he loved it. He just wanted to get read to because he loved the stories. And slowly he was getting the words, and then we have all the materials that we can teach him as sight words and go back to kindergarten, 1st grade stuff, teach him that stuff, fill in all those gaps that he missed all through 2nd grade. And by the end of the summer, he was almost caught up to 3rd grade.
And they advanced him.
Because we showed the school that we gave him so many hours of tutoring, he actually could pass the test. Within a summer, he caught up almost a whole year of school.
I presume some of our listeners, viewers, would like to help. They may not have time to tutor, but they'd like to help in other ways. How can we help? Can we donate money? Can we donate books? I have a 12 and 10-year-old. That means I have books for 5 to 8, ready to go.
We take books all the time.
Right.
Actually, we take backpacks and school supplies is our biggest donation, because we give every child that we take to tutor, we give them a brand new backpack filled with school supplies, because they always need them. Kids go through backpacks 3 or 4 a year.
Of course.
Okay, these kids get 1. So if we see that they're a ready backpack, we give them a new backpack. We give out, how many did you say last year?
4,000 backpacks.
Over 4,000 backpacks just to our kids.
And what about books? Will you take gently used books?
Yes.
We do, but we don't like to take used anything, because these kids don't deserve, just because they're homeless, they don't deserve
I understand
used.
that.
Everybody else gets new stuff. We like to keep it that they get new stuff. So we give. Books are always good because they're reusable.
Right.
But school supplies, it's
that'd be
always
different.
brand new.
But
But reading stuff, materials, we supply our shelters with them too.
What have these children done for you?
Oh
dear.
It's so much. Just the joy. There are times I walk into the shelter and they're, oh, Mr. Tutor. They don't remember my name, but they know I'm the guy who brings the tutors to them. So they all it just fills my heart every time I walk in. They all know me now and say hello and thank you for bringing my tutor. I love my tutor.
Louis Mena, Lillian Pond, thank you so much for joining us and for what you're doing for the children of the 5-county area. There was School on Wheels. My name is Brad Pomerance, and this is Charter California Edition.